Getting set for the second half kickoff. Mike Lansford will do the booting for the Rams, who are up 21-3. John Robinson said this could be a big game for the Rams if they can win and take control and turn the corner.
But it's a long way from being over, Dick.
End over end. Duckett at the 7. Kenny Duckett. Hit at the 15-yard line by David Croudup. And the Saints take over 1st and 10. Ken Stabler will start the second half. He was 1 for 8 for 8 yards and 1 interception. Todd 8 for 13 with 2 interceptions. So Stabler starts it out on his 15-yard line, 1st and 10.
With him starting, it means that they're going to try to run the ball as much as they possibly can, because if they're going to throw the ball a lot, they would want Todd because he has better movement, better escapability skill.
George Rogers starts at tailback. Hokie Gaijan fights his way out to the 20-yard line. So this is the first time that Stabler has been in the backfield with George Rogers. Normally it's been Campbell. Carl Eckern and Mel Owens make the tackle. Kenny Stabler, who can pick apart a defense. He'll be 39 years old on Christmas Day. He is slimmer and trimmer, as you mentioned, Hank, but he has been injury prone.
Yes, he has been, and I think there's no secret. He's such a great competitor, has enjoyed such terrific success, that I think he's disappointed that he hasn't been playing. No question about that.
2nd down and 4 now at the 21-yard line. Here's George Rogers fighting his way to the 25, close to a 1st down. Collins and Owens make the tackle. When we talked to George Rogers at practice, he said, well, I'm averaging 17 carries a game and I want to carry more. He carried the ball twice in the first half.
Well, I think, the running backs would like to carry the ball 45 times a game, and the quarterbacks would like to throw it 45 times a game. That's why I think sometimes the coaches call the plays. Here's Rogers coming off the field.
But he didn't get where he was, carrying the ball 3 times into the 3rd quarter.
You're right, and he doesn't like it.
3 tight ends, Junior Miller, John Tice, and Hobie Brenner. 3rd and 1, short yardage. Wayne Wilson over the top has the 1st down for the Saints. So this is that ball control, short passing, mix it up kind of style that Stabler and Bum Phillips like.
Yeah, I think they like to run the ball, Stabler especially. He'd like to run the ball as efficiently as he possibly can, and then be able to throw some play action passes along with it. But he wants to make sure he stays out of that 2nd and 3rd and long situations. That's what he wants to keep away from.
An injured Ram. We're going to take a break, and it brings the head coach on the field. Jack Youngblood is shaken up. He's having his best year, Jack Youngblood is. One of many. We'll return. And Doug Reed, a 4th-round draft pick who was on injured reserve, number 93 last year. They had hoped that Reed would give them a much-needed pass rush in preseason, but he has not come through for him. So Doug Reed replaces Jack Youngblood. There he is right now. 1st and 10 for the Saints on the 27-yard line, trailing 21-3. Rogers and Gaijan, the backs. Play action, Stabler, and he's going to Groth at the 31, and Groth is mighty close to another 1st down. Leroy Irvin makes the stop.
That's a style. That's what Kenny likes to do. He likes to run the ball a little bit, makes him move the chains, and then throw play action passes. He gets down there a little closer, down about the 30, 35-yard line, and he'll try to throw one up on top, especially if he sees 1-for-1 coverage.
Groth has led the Saints in receiving the last 2 years. Came into the game with only 9. He has 2 so far as Stabler talks things over with Hobie Brenner. They're going to measure. It's close. It's by an inch, and it's a 1st down. If the Saints can avoid making mistakes and pick apart a little at a time, as you mentioned, they have a lot of time to get back into this game.
Yeah, they're really 3 plays away from being back in the game, and of course anything can happen. They've got a long time to go, and they cannot abandon what they like to do best and just throw it up for grabs, because then they're really be in trouble.
1st and 10 at the 37-yard line. Less than 3 minutes gone by. Pitch to Rogers. Rogers to the 38-yard line, gets a couple, and that's all. Leroy Irvin forcing the play from the secondary, making the stop.
That was a counter play with the express purpose of trying to sell the defense on the idea that the play was going to go wide to the right. He took a step and came back to the backside, but the defense of the Los Angeles Rams really played it well.
Rodgers gained 99 yards against the Bears, the best rushing team defensively in the NFL last week. 2nd and 9. 1-yard pickup. Stabler with an audible there. Wayne Wilson is the running back, and he's a good receiver, but Stabler goes down. Can't get away from George Andrews. 2nd sack of the game for Andrews and the Rams.
They must have a mystery man in and trying to block Andrews, because they haven't blocked him all afternoon, and he gets a free shot at the quarterback. I don't know what the back usually on that side normally has to check. Watch him, 52. A back usually has to check him. If he comes, he has to block him. If not, then he releases. But they haven't touched him about 3 or 4 occasions. And they're acting like they don't like the quarterback.
Well, maybe they took a straw poll in the dressing room at halftime. I know one thing, that wasn't a case of the immobility of Kenny Stabler.
He had no chance whatsoever that time.
3rd down and 20. Trying to keep Doss out. Stabler to Hobie Brenner, who makes a play. They call it complete at the 39-yard line. A 12-yard pickup. Jimmy Collins makes the tackle, but it'll be 4th down and about 7, and the Saints will have to kick it away. Brian Hansen, who replaced Russell Erxleben as the Saints punter. Henry Ellard leading the NFC coming into the day's activities. He's back with Leroy Irvin. Under 11 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. And now the Rams, barring a penalty or a turnover, will take over. Irvin at the 20-yard line. Irvin, who's made his name as a punt returner before he took over at cornerback, brings it out to the 41-yard line. A 20-yard return by Leroy Irvin, and the tackle is by John Tice. Rams take over 1st and 10 when we come back to New Orleans. Rams have the ball, good field position on their own 41-yard line, 1st and 10, leading 21-3. Jeff Kemp having a solid afternoon. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, in control. Dickerson and Crutchfield carrying. It's Wayne Crutchfield hit by Bruce Clark as he gains a couple on the play. There's Jack Youngblood, who was shaken up, has a pinched nerve, we understand, and he is expected to return.
He played 1 year with a broken foot. You know, he's really had an incredible career as far as injuries are concerned, and still being able to play.
Been a warrior for this club. 2nd and 7 at the 44-yard line. Here's Dickerson with his first carry of the 2nd half and carries it out to the 46 before Ricky Jackson makes the stop. Dickerson had 98 yards rushing, and then on that fumble lost 11, so he's got about 89 right now, and still doesn't have 100 in the bank.
You know, the Rams are changing their personality quite a bit during the course of the game. They're using 1 back, and then they're using 2 backs, and they're using a slot with 1 back and 3 receivers. There's a variety of things, and trying to disjoint the defense of the New Orleans Saints and keep them off balance.
3rd down and 5. Gubin comes in motion. In your picture. Pressure on Kemp. Throws it. Hill can't catch up to it. Kovacs was following David Hill out of the backfield, so good pressure by the Saints defense. It'll be 4th down, and Misko will come in to kick for the Rams. A Ram is shaken up. It looks like Jackie Slater, the right tackle. He is injured. Frank Watlett put on a safety blitz to force Kemp to hurry his throw.
Yeah, he was the one that blitzed on the play.
So first Youngblood shaken up. He'll be back, but Jackie Slater now is on the turf for the Rams and will come back. Jackie Slater goes to the sideline to be tended to by the doctors, and John Misko is in to punt for the Rams. Jeff Groth is back for the Saints with 9:22 to go in this 3rd quarter. No scoring. Groth has averaged 5.5 yards a punt return.
If I were Robinson, I'd be disappointed after that last display offensively. They got the ball in the 41 and weren't able to do a thing with it. And I think at this stage of the game is important. They really continue to try to do everything they can to put on the pressure.
Groth with the fair catch. The Saints will take over. I want to remind you, next week, live Noon Eastern Time. College football on CBS. The Wolverines, Bo Schembechler against Hayden Fry's Iowa team against the UCLA in California. Big Ten, Pac-10 combination. Joe Kapp, the head coach of the Golden Bears. 1st and 10. George Rogers brings it out to the 22-yard line. Right now, for an NFL Today report, here's Brent Musburger in New York.
Dick, the Falcons strike back here as we start the 3rd quarter against the Giants. A beautiful spinning move by Gerald Riggs. And now the Giants lead is 16-7. Let's go back to Dick.
That's a score that the Rams and the Ram fans will be watching as Jackie Slater is being tended to. Rams have a chance, if they can win this game, to move into 2nd place undisputed. Stabler on 2nd down and 6, fires, incomplete, going for Groth up the middle, but there were 4 white jerseys right around Groth at midfield, or at the 40.
Might mention that Chris Ward is starting at the left tackle position for the Saints, and of course he was a starting tackle for the New York Giants, and they were able to pick him up.
Penalty against the Saints, and there's Chris.
Holding, offense, number 72, declines, 3rd down.
Chris Ward, former Jet, once highly rated, guilty on that play. As you saw, the touchdown by the Falcons, 16-7. Jets in Cleveland in the 3rd quarter of their game in Cleveland.
And here we see Miami, a close game in the 3rd quarter, 7-0 over Houston.
That's a surprise. Dan Marino has a touchdown pass in that game. 3rd down and 6. And the pass by Stabler is caught for 1st down to John Tice, the 2nd-year tight end from Maryland. 1st down, Saints at the 30. Other scores. The Bears and the Cardinals going back and forth. The Bears lead 21-17.
Kansas City still leads in the 3rd quarter, 10-6 over San Diego. Tampa Bay and the Detroit Lions 7-7 in the 3rd quarter.
Lions have been struggling. Tampa Bay is looking better than everyone thought. 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line. Pass tipped by Andrews.
That's the 3rd ball he's had tipped in this game. Yep.
Now, Hank, is it because he's throwing more sidearm or 3-quarter?
No, I don't think so. I think that somebody's getting through there. There's a leak someplace inside, and usually it's been Andrews, and he's gotten a piece of the ball, and for that reason, he hasn't been able to get the ball up in the air, and they've almost been intercepted. Look at this. Philadelphia 13, Indianapolis nothing. 3rd quarter. Miami's starting to come on 14-0 now in the 3rd quarter over Houston.
Here at 2nd and 10 at the 30. Rams 21, Saints 3. Going up on top for Lindsey Scott. And the pass almost intercepted by Gary Green. Green almost picked that one off as Stabler, who rarely goes deep, was going for Lindsey Scott, the former #1 draft pick, who did not start this game. Tyrone Young started in place of him. So it is 3rd down and 10 back at the 30 with 7:48 to go in the 3rd quarter. Scott has been a bit of a disappointment. Had a good preseason, but Tyrone Young comes on. Lindsey Scott will have lost his job.
Yeah, they thought going into the season that he would really come on strong and do a great job, but he hasn't so far. And of course, I think in all fairness to him, he's had some injury problems that slowed down his progress.
Penalty markers down, and they may have a procedure call. Movement in the line.
False start, number 67, offense.
It's got to be the 3rd or 4th time Brock has been called for that.
You know, I alluded to that earlier in the game. I think sometimes when you change quarterbacks, you know, you do so with the idea of helping create some problems for the defense, but the change of rhythm and the change of the count sometimes affects your own team, and sometimes you wind up being offside when you normally wouldn't do that with just one quarterback.
I think it's awfully difficult to have 2 different quarterbacks with 2 distinct styles in the same game.
Well, I think that's very true, and of course I think, as I mentioned earlier, the other thing that's a problem is that your team likes one better than the other, and that's always a problem.
3rd down and 15. Groth makes the reception, but he's about 8 yards shy of the 1st down. Nolan Cromwell and Carl Eckern make the tackle. Stabler is 5 for 14 with 1 interception, but it's punting time, and Hansen will come in to kick for the Saints, and the crowd is not appreciative of what the Saints have shown on offense. Keep in mind, Hank, that one of the things that they haven't done is tackle all that well on defense.
No, I think that's really been a major problem for them. They've been very, very poor from a fundamental standpoint, tackling wise.
You saw that on the Dickerson run. There's Ellard back along with Leroy Irvin. Irvin has returned the last two. They would like to kick it to Irvin. Remember a few years ago they didn't want to kick it to Leroy. Good kick. Terrific punt, but it goes into the end zone. Hansen really got his leg into that one. 66-yard punt, and the Rams will take over on the 20-yard line when we come back to the Superdome. Bum Phillips looking on as the Saints trail the Rams 21-3. Those division games are important when it comes time for the tiebreakers for playoff berths. Gooman. And Dickerson carries. Fumbles. Loose ball inside the 20. Normally we see one of the teams signaling. We don't in this case. But we'll wait.
I think the Rams have it, but I'm not sure.
So Dickerson fumbled. Jeff Kemp, the quarterback, recovered. He has been one alert quarterback today in many phases of the game.
One thing that's very important, and I mentioned it earlier, I think when you get this kind of a lead, you got to really be careful that you maintain some consistency and continuity and continue to try to score and do a good job offensively, because all of a sudden you make a mistake and you let this other team get right back in the game, and then you got a dogfight.
So you can't sit on your lead at this stage.
No, you certainly can't.
6.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Second down and 11 at the 19-yard line. Kemp under pressure is hit as he lets go. It'll be an incomplete pass. Jim Kovach hit his arm, so the inside linebacker, who last week made the tackle on Walter Payton after Payton set the record, and he says it may be my destiny to become a trivia question in the National Football League, is the man who tackled Payton. He's a delightful guy.
Yeah, he is. He had some good observations about their running game, and but it didn't look like it did much good, depending on what they did last week, because in the first half now they're doing a much better job in the second half, and that still might prevail as we go along.
Third down and 11. Reggie Lewis and James Gethers, the rookie, in it pass rushing. They're going to put pressure on Kemp if they can. Kemp's pass is caught by Ron Brown, and now Ron Brown is out of bounds, picks up the first down. Frank Watlett makes the tackle, and the Saints let the Rams out of a hole, and Brown made a good play.
Poe made another bad mistake, just like he did earlier on the touchdown play. Look, he backs up. He's concerned about the deep threat. He comes up to make the play, overruns the play, and out of position. He fakes to the outside, back inside, and has no chance whatsoever to make the play, and he makes the necessary yardage for the first down. Another bad play, really, by Poe, the right quarterback, number 25, Johnny Poe.
Ron Brown, gold medalist in the American 4x100 relay team, but not just a track star. He can play football, and John Robinson has emphasized that. Play action on 1st and 10 at the 33. Kemp has time. He's going deep for Ron Brown, and Brown is there. Poe is there, and no one gets it. Poe did a good job in staying with the great speedster Ron Brown on that one.
He really did. He had outside leverage on him all the way, step for step. Watch him go down the field. Johnny Poe, number 25, leaps for the ball. Looks like he might intercept it. It was knocked loose by Brown. Brown tries to maintain concentration and try to make the catch, but he doesn't, and it falls incomplete. But a good job by Johnny Poe.
Yeah, he came right back after that last play. Of course, he had 7 interceptions last season to lead the Saints.
I think he's got to move the pocket a little bit too, Dick. He hasn't done much of that so far, but they're putting a lot of pressure on him. I think that'd be one way to get away from the pressure.
2nd and 10, Dickerson cutting inside. And Dickerson brings it out close to midfield to the 49-yard line. Frank Warren had him from behind. It'll be 3rd down and a long 4. Bovach told us that the Saints seem historically to get better as the season goes on against the rush.
That's been their history, but they better start doing it soon.
But now, if that penalty is against,
False start, number 62.
it's against Bill Bain. Bill Bain is huge. He's 285 pounds. He's 32 years old. He took over for Irv Pankey, who missed last year with a torn Achilles tendon, and kept his job. Held off Pankey again.
Yeah, they got him as a free agent in 1979. 10-year pro, 32 from Southern California. He's a delightful guy, and he really loves the play and appreciates the fact that he is a starting tackle for the Los Angeles Rams.
Pankey, by the way, moved to right tackle to take over for the injured Jackie Slater. Third down and 10 at the 39. 5:26 to go in the third quarter. It is still 21-3 Rams over Saints. And here's Dickerson looking for running room. Dickerson has it. He has the first down. Puts on the speed and is in Saint territory to the 39-yard line. Ricky Jackson makes the play, but there is Dickerson for 22 yards.
It was a well-conceived play that time. Dave Waymer, the cornerback, had a run with the outside receiver down the field. He didn't even know they ran the ball. It was a counter play. And look at, he makes an inside-outside move. And Bobby Johnson, number 34, misses the tackle close to the line of scrimmage, and they have another good field position situation and another first down. Eric Dickerson.
So Dickerson has his 100 yards right now, 115 to be exact.
You know, that counter play has been very effective. Normally, the Rams like to run straight ahead blocking, just get a hat on everybody and blow straight ahead. They're blocking down and countering with a guard and a tackle, and it's been effective.
Kemp being chased, looking for time, throws it up, and Whitney Paul almost made an interception. He just couldn't get over for that dying quail in time. Once again, Jeff Kemp did a terrific job in avoiding trouble from all over.
That's the only bad play he's really made that time. He shouldn't have thrown the ball in that area. It would have been intercepted possibly, but he was running for his life and threw it right into the crowd.
Ricky Jackson and Bruce Clark, that tough left side, both came in on Kemp. 5:09 on the clock, third quarter. We have not had any scoring in this period. Dickerson back along with Crutchfield in the backfield. Crutchfield, an inside handoff, fights his way to the 35-yard line. It'll be third and about 6. Here's Brent Musburger right now with an NFL Today report. Brent?
Dick, on this scramble by Jim McMahon, forget the ball carrier. Watch the lead man, number 34, Walter Payton. Here's why he's such a great all-around player. Watch him take out the Cardinal defender. McMahon scrambles down to the 1. Matsui bucks in for the touchdown. Cardinals come right back. Lead has changed hands 7 times in this game. Back to Dick.
Thank you, Brent. That's a big game. Our score is 21-3. The Rams lead the Saints. Cardinals have playoff hopes of their own, and the Bears lead in the Central Division. Here's Dickerson up the middle. Dickerson breaks a couple of tackles and has a first down inside the 25-yard line all the way to the 21. Johnny Poe makes the tackle.
That's a counter play again, but look at, watch the left guard, Kent Hill and Bain. Bain really makes a great block, but is supposed to go off tackle. He sees running room inside, takes advantage of it, and that's a great quality that the excellent running backs have. They have terrific vision. He saw the seam, he saw the cavity, took advantage of it, and popped right through there for the first down.
Under 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Rams driving, 1st and 10 at the Saint 21. Kemp throwing on first down. Under pressure, Frank Warren missed him, and Kemp's in the end zone. Touchdown. Ron Brown with his 3rd touchdown reception of the year, and the Rams open this one up to the tune of 27-3, and Kemp threw a bullet running to his left, and Brown made a good comeback play.
Boy, you talk about a great play on the part of this young quarterback. It's a dash play. He moves the pocket, runs to the outside, throws the ball on the run. Look at the strike he throws, going sideways. A beautiful shot, and to Ron Brown to get another touchdown, but an excellent play by Jeff Kemp.
So for Ron Brown, his 3rd touchdown reception of the season, and Kemp has thrown 3 TD passes to Drew Hill, Henry Ellard, and Ron Brown. Cromwell is holding for Mike Lansford. with 3 minutes and 42 seconds to go in the third quarter. The kick is good. Dickerson gained 36 yards on that drive, and Ron Brown started it with a 19-yard reception and ended it with a 21-yard touchdown pass. Not time-wise, but that was the longest drive of the game, yardage-wise. 80 yards in 10 plays, capped by Jeff Kemp's 21-yard touchdown pass to Ron Brown, who has caught 6 passes this year, 3 of them for touchdowns. Tyrone Anthony and Wayne Wilson are now back for the Saints. Lansford kicks it off short. It's Anthony, the rookie, at the 3. And he has hit shy of the 20-yard line by Norwood Van. Well, it's going to be Dallas and Washington coming up next. Except for the viewers here in New Orleans, the winner takes off sole possession of first place in the NFC East. And, Coach, what do you think of it?
Well, I think Washington right now is playing very, very well. They're doing a good job offensively and defensively. They're difficult to run against. I think right now at this stage of the season, the Redskins have the edge, and they're a hot team, and they're playing as good as they were last year.
And they're controlling the line of scrimmage.
They really are. That's really been the big difference, both offensively and defensively, with those big offensive defensive lines.
Stabler in at quarterback completes the pass to Tyrone Young, and a first down for the Saints. Let's see where they mark it. Just inside the 30. It'll be close, but they may have it, and they do. Leroy Irvin makes the tackle. Tyrone Young making his first NFL start today.
I think the other thing, going back to the Dallas-Washington game, I think the other thing that's important is the fact that they're playing on grass, and Washington plays much, much better on grass than they do on synthetic turf, and vice versa for the Cowboys.
3 minutes to go. There was a mix-up as Stabler had John Tice short.
That was one of those I thought passes, and that's when you're in trouble. When you ask the receiver what happened, he says, I thought. You know you're in trouble right there.
Do you think that the crowd in Washington will be behind the Redskins, Henry?
Oh, they might be for a change. They might be for a change.
Like a 12th man, huh?
They're going to blow the doors off the locker room.
And maybe more than 12th man. Second down and 10 at the 30. Pass dropped by Tice. Eckern defending on the play. Crowd is chanting, "We want Wilson." That's funny because you know how it is. They always want the guy who's not in there.
They always want the guy sitting on the bench. No question about that. Always the same.
And because there are 2 guys playing today, they got to go down to number 3.
Why, sir?
Third down and 10. They want Wilson, who, by the way, was also a number 1 pick. They used him in a supplementary draft.
How happy you think he is?
Delirious. Stabler goes to the open man. Tice, the tight end, and Tice is close to a first down. See where they spot the ball. Carl Eckern again makes the tackle for the Rams. Down 28-3 with 2.5 minutes to go. The Saints are going to go for it. Nothing, not a scoop. With that news, 4th and 1. There is Dave Wilson, who was, they were saying, the heir apparent to Snake Stabler before they made the Richard Todd trade.
And, of course, he got hurt last year. They were concerned about that. They used that as a reason. It looks like they're going to do something left. Now they're going back the other way.
Wilson is stopped shy of a first down, and so the Rams will take over on downs, and Jimmy Collins, who was on the verge of all-pro status, stuffed Wayne Wilson, and the Rams will take over at the Saint 39-yard line. Want to remind you, sorry, Ed.
Go ahead, Dick.
I just want to remind the fans of the CBS Sports Special coming up next Sunday, America's Marathon Chicago. Joan Benoit, Olympic champion. Carlos Lopes, the same for him. Expected to head one of the strongest marathon fields ever in the mile race in and around downtown Chicago. Next Sunday, beginning at 4:30 Eastern, right here on CBS Sports.
That was a surprising call. Hard to understand why Campbell or Rogers wouldn't be running that kind of a play instead of Wayne Wilson, who is really a better receiver than he is a runner.
Or even Gaijon. They have a lot of power backs.
Right, right.
1st and 10, 2:03 to go. Fumble. Dickerson right there, but the Saints recover. Jim Wilkes recovers the ball. First turnover of the ball game by the Rams, and Wilkes is there to recover the fumble and give the Saints a new life at the 40-yard line. Crowd is still yelling for Wilson, but it's Stabler who's in at quarterback with that much time remaining in the third quarter. The Saints gambled 4th and 1, came up empty, and get the ball back on the next play. Trailing 28-3 to the Rams, who are looking good in every way. Stabler complete to Junior Miller. Close to a first down. Eckern again on the tackle. Well, there's Junior Miller, who was an all-pro in his early years with the Falcons. Henry?
Yeah, I always thought he was going to be just a sensational tight end, and he's had a lot of ups and downs. You talk about a stock market player. He's been up and down, and it might be that once he gets here and has a chance to play more, he'll be very effective, but he hasn't been so far in his career, and I think he's way too heavy. He looks more like a tackle than he does a tight end.
He was a Pro Bowl player first 2 years with the Falcons. They're using him on short yardage now. 2nd down and 1. Bookie Gaijan, first down. Into Ram territory at the 49. Jim Collins and Reggie Doss make the tackle for the Rams.
The one thing about this kind of a game right now, the way the Saints are playing, Dick, is that they're taking an awful lot of time. They have to get back in the game with some kind of a quick, big play, and the Rams don't mind this at all because they're using an awful lot of time on the clock.
Giants add to their lead over the Falcons. Under a minute to go in the third quarter. Stabler back out to Junior Miller. Miller is hit by Cromwell. The play was blown dead at the 46-yard line. And of course, with Kenny Stabler in there, you're not going to get the big strike that you could with Richard Todd.
No, he's a move-the-chain quarterback at this stage of his career. He likes to throw the ball short, put the pressure on the defense, and run the ball, play action, and move the ball that way. And as I mentioned, he gets down close, down about the 30, 35-yard line, 25. He'll try to pump one in the end zone, but that's what his style has been.
This could be the last play of the third quarter. Lindsey Scott comes out to the right. Kenny Duckett to the left. Draw play. Gaijan with good power. First down for the Saints to the 37-yard line. Eckern on the tackle. Gaijan coming into this game averaging 7.3 yards a carry. And there's the gun. That is the end of the third quarter. The Rams lead the Saints 28-3. We now pause for a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Pontiac. Cars built with a feel for the road. Pontiac, we build excitement. Light beer from Miller. Everything you've always wanted in a beer and less. And by Federal Express. When you have a package that absolutely positively has to be there overnight. Federal Express.
We start the fourth quarter. Dick Stockton and Hank Stram. First down and 10. Pass to Kenny Duckett. Inside the 30-yard line by Stabler. Collins and Eckern make the tackle. It'll be 2nd down and short, and an injured Ram. Is that Desjardins, the nose tackle?
I think it is.
He has been alternating with Greg Meisner. Meisner playing the 1st and 3rd. Desjardins the 2nd and 4th. And then they decide what they do in the crunch of the ball game, when there is a crunch.
The other thing the Saints are doing at this time, they're playing with a double tight end offense with 2 outside receivers and a running back, and they're trying to make sure they have everybody faded from a blocking standpoint to give Stabler a chance to throw the football.
We're going to take a look at some scores. The Jets and the Browns tied 17-17 in the fourth quarter. Miami over Houston 14-3 in the fourth quarter. Big battle going on back and forth. St. Louis and Chicago 24-21. They're in the fourth quarter of that ball game. Gil Byrd returned to pass 99 yards, an interception in that ball game, but Kansas City leads San Diego 17-13. Tampa Bay and Detroit are all tied in the fourth quarter. One other score for you. The Philadelphia Eagles leading the Colts 13-0. Desjardins is out, and Meisner checks back in at nose tackle. In case you're interested, between the two, George Rogers and Earl Campbell, they have gained 30 yards on 10 carries. 2nd and 2 at the 29. Hokie Gaijan breaks a tackle and gets a first down. Good second effort by Gaijan. In the opening minute here of this fourth quarter, Owens and Newsom make the play.
Yeah, it was fun to talk to him yesterday, talking to Campbell, talking to Rogers, talking to Todd and everybody. We talked to Hoagie, and he said that it doesn't make any difference, the acquisition of Campbell. His role is going to be the same. He's going to get the ball about maybe 5 to 8 times a game, and he's going to have to block the other times. He's got a great attitude about it, and that's exactly the way it's been.
He does. He was a 10th round draft pick, so he has no complaints. He's not going to be an unhappy player no matter what.
No, he just loves to play.
Boy,
you got a bump and run on the outside. He might try to go up on top.
1st and 10 at the 26 to Lindsey Scott. He's got it, and a penalty marker down as Scott carries Gary Green to the goal line. Not over, but to the goal line. A 25-yard pickup. Green took a hold of Scott early and said, I'm going along for the ride.
But you know, anytime he sees that situation, he's going to try to take advantage of it.
Illegal contact. Number 47 will be declined. First down.
Lindsey Scott.
He comes off the ball with a free release. Breaks to the inside. And Gary Green is trying to cover on the play, but he makes the play, makes the catch down the 1-yard line.
1st and goal at the 1. Gaijan in for the touchdown. So the Saints take a while to score a touchdown. 13:44 to go. And Hokie Gaijan with his 4th touchdown rushing. He leads the Saints in that department. And it's now a 28-9 ball game. So Gaijan has outgained both Rogers and Campbell in this one. Morton Anderson will kick. Guido Merkins will hold for the Saints. And Anderson's kick is good. So it's now a 28-10 game. Early in this final quarter, Hokie Gaijan gives the Saints their first touchdown of the game. The Saints scoring drive capped by Hokie Gaijan's 1-yard run. 28-10 the score. A lot of time left in this fourth quarter. Morton Anderson kicking off to Drew Hill and Barry Redden. And it's going to be Drew Hill at the 9. Going around Jimmy Rogers and going out of bounds at the 21-yard line. Well, tonight on CBS, fine group of programs for you, and it all begins with 60 Minutes, followed by Murder, She Wrote, The Jeffersons, Alice, and concluding with Trapper John M.D., all tonight on CBS. Keep in mind the Cowboys and the Redskins tee it up following this game. You'll see it here on CBS, except for the viewers here in the New Orleans area. NFL rule on blackouts. Jeff Kemp with 3 touchdown passes and no interceptions in a solid ball game. Crutchfield for a couple of yards.
Crutchfield doesn't look like he does much, but all he does is move the pile. He doesn't look like he gets much yardage, but even on that play, I think he picked up about 3 or 4 yards.
Second in rushing coming in to Dickerson. Dickerson's had a big day and a big play, a 66-yard run, which set up the Rams' second touchdown in the second quarter. 2nd down and 6 at the 26-yard line. And here is Eric Dickerson. Dickerson gets hit twice. He is strong. Brings it out to the 30-yard line. It'll be 3rd and short. Bruce Clark and Russell Gary make the tackle.
That was a counterplay again. That time misdirection, trying to step to the left, permitting his left guard Bill Bain and left tackle Bill Bain and Ken Hill to pull, but they stuffed it pretty well that time, talking about the Saints, and they didn't clear it out nearly as well as they have on other occasions during the course of the afternoon.
3rd down and 2. Barber is the tight end. Dickerson and Crutchfield. Crowd urging on the Saint defense. Crutchfield doesn't make it. They clog the middle well, and it'll be 4th down, and Misko will have to punt. They untangle the pile, but from here it looks as if the Rams were at least a yard short of a 1st down.
They've been tipping that play. I think every time that he runs that play, Crutchfield has been lined up way ahead of the fullback, or the tailback in that particular case, Dickerson. And it looks like every time he's done that, he's run the same play right up the middle.
Misko will kick, and Groth is back at the 30-yard line. 12:08 showing on the clock. We're in the 4th quarter. Dick Stockton and Hank Stram at the Superdome. Good high kick by Misko. Groth backs up, calls for the fair catch at the 23-yard line. Well, they sold out this game, and we have 7,900 no-shows. So the crowd in the stadium today, 63,161. Ken Stabler remains in the game at quarterback. Hank, where's Richard Todd?
He's the one with smoke coming out of his ears, standing at the sideline.
And maybe not the only one. 1st and 10. You like that one at the 23. Draw play to Hokie Gajan. Gajan picks up 6 yards. I don't know if we can detect smoke, but you know that Richard Todd is not a happy quarterback right now, and the Saints traded a number 1 for him because they wanted a mobile quarterback who could throw deep, and that may be what they need right now, trailing 28-10.
It really is surprising that he is not in the game, because that's exactly what they need now. They need somebody who can move and has good escapability skill. Stabler certainly does not have that.
2nd down and 5 at the 28. Stabler pumps long, throws short, intended for Duckett. Leroy Irvin defending. Penalty flag is down. And Cromwell is now demonstrating to the head linesman in most emphatic terms.
Defense, number 47, 1st down.
Leroy Irvin was guilty, and Cromwell was the defending attorney on that play.
There we see the play. Irvin has position on the inside and gets over the top, and the reason they call it was his right arm was on the back of the receiver, and that's why they called that play. Kenny Duckett,
1st
number 84.
and 10 at the 36-yard line, and a near great catch by Duckett. Going deep on the sideline. Irvin defending on the play, and Duckett did get his hands on that one.
You know, the mistake that happens that you make as a defensive back when Stabler's in the game, you have the mistaken impression that he really cannot throw long anymore, so you're kind of playing for the short stuff. And if you're not careful, the receiver will run right by, just like Duckett did on the last play, but he just dropped the ball. I'm surprised, really, that Kenny was able to throw the ball that long.
Looking at the 2 Saint quarterbacks, Todd 8 for 13, 2 interceptions. Stabler 11 for 23 and 1 interception. 2nd and 10 at the 36. Draw play to Gajan, and Hokie Gajan finds a hole and is about a yard and a half shy of a 1st down. Brings it out to the 44-yard line, where Carl Eckern and Vince Newsom make the tackle. Eric Harris was shaken up early, the strong safety for the Rams. He's had a good year, and Newsom, the nickelback, has been forced to play strong safety. 3rd and 2 for Ken Stabler and company. 10 minutes, 49 seconds remaining. The 4th quarter, and a 28-10 game. The Rams in front. They've led most of the way. Gajan is hit. 2nd effort, good enough for another 1st down. Eckern makes the tackle. Who needs Rodgers and Campbell when you have Gajan?
And he is. That's no joke. He is a very good running back, tough and he's strong, and he runs straight ahead as well as anybody.
Story similar of Rocky Bleier, the former Pittsburgh Steeler, a late-round draft pick. They said, if you're going to make it, you're going to make it on special teams, and that's all, without the speed and the size. He's hustled his way into the lineup. 1st and 10 at the 47-yard line. Stabler with time up the middle, completes it to the running back Tyrone Anthony, a 3rd-round draft pick out of North Carolina, and a man they like very much. So now 11 different Saints have caught passes today from Todd and Stabler. Clock is running. Gain of 6 on the play. 2nd down and 4. And the Saints are in Ram territory at the 47. So far, John Robinson is not worried. Anthony on the pitch. He gets close to the first down. Cromwell on the tackle. St. coaches have been looking for situations where they could play this third-round draft pick out of North Carolina. They say he's a kind of a player who can move the pile. Tyrone Anthony. Third down and a yard. The Browns overtake the Jets. Miami. Marino, by the way, has 3 touchdown passes today. Kansas City holding on against the Chargers. 3rd and 1 with 8:39 on the clock. Gaijon hit and may not have made it. The Rams said he's done that too much to us today. And I don't believe he made it. Jack Youngblood, Reggie Doss, and Mel Owens all there on the play.
Robinson has to be feel much better about his defense today, because last week they didn't play well against the Falcons, especially against the run straight ahead stuff. They've handled the straight ahead stuff much better today.
He said that he was particularly upset at that Atlanta loss because the game was there for us to win, he said. They missed the first down, so it'll be 4th down and that much. Tice comes in. Tim Wilson, another former Houston Oiler, is in there.
Well, they got the sledgehammer gang in there now on this short yardage situation.
4th down and a yard.
The drive started with 11:52 on the clock. It's down to 8:33, and they're still only on the plus 44-yard line.
Wayne Wilson is in there. Tim Wilson is in there. No Rogers or Campbell on this 4th and 1. In motion is Tice. Wayne Wilson, first down as he leaps to the 40-yard line. But as you just mentioned, Hank, the Rams are just sitting back saying use as much time as you want.
Yeah, that's right. They just let him go ahead and make 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 yards. It doesn't bother them any as long as they keep ticking away on that clock.
And if they do score a touchdown on this drive, they're still down by 11. They still need 2 scores. Under 8 minutes to go as you watch the time. 1st and 10 at the 40-yard line of the Rams. Gaijon, the running back. Stabler looks one way, comes back and hits Lindsey Scott, who is out of bounds at the 36-yard line, a gain of 5. Gary Green makes the tackle. Other scores. Miami now opening up against Houston.
Yeah, they're getting hot. Look at this. New England 17, Cincinnati 14 in the 4th quarter.
Tony Eason with a 25-yard touchdown run.
Indianapolis has come back. They got 7 on the board. It's now Philadelphia 13 and Indianapolis 7 in the 4th quarter.
Randy McMillan, a 1-yard touchdown. 2nd and 5 at the 35. Stabler going up on top. Kenny Duckett is there, and it's pulped away. It was Leroy Irvin who was unhappy he didn't get the touchdown, got a hand on it. Duckett was the receiver in the end zone.
Yes, there again, this is where Kenny likes to throw deep. Here you see Duckett trying to lick Irvin on the left side. The ball is thrown up in the air. Irvin keeps good vision on the ball. The ball is thrown a little bit short, and as a result, he's able to come up with his left hand and knock the ball down. An excellent play by Leroy Irvin, number 47.
3rd down and 5.
Had the ball been thrown out in front a little bit longer, it might have been a score.
Stabler over the middle, incomplete. Eckern and Gaijon got there at the same time, and it is 4th down and 5. Well, Bump Phillips said that Richard Todd and Kenny Stabler were going to share quarterbacking duties, and that Earl Campbell and George Rogers were going to share tailback. I don't know about the tailback spot, but they sure as heck haven't shared the quarterback duties today.
Unless they're both using the same number. We don't know it.
Campbell and Rogers carry 10 times between them. Gaijon has 13 carries himself. 4th down and 5. They have to go for it, and they pass the ball in front of the sticks. It's caught by Junior Miller, but they don't get the first down. They're shy by 3 yards, and the Rams take over on downs. Andrews makes the tackle. So that fizzles, but they use a lot of time up, and now the Rams take over with a big lead, 6:45 to go. Well, the Rams take over on downs, 1st and 10 on their 32-yard line. Dick Stockton and Hank Stram. L.A. has the 28-10 lead. Morton Anderson gave the Saints a lead with a field goal early, and then it's been all Rams. Kemp with 3 touchdown passes. Cromwell returned an interception, 34 yards for a touchdown. Ellard in motion for the Rams. Eric Dickerson up the middle, head down, brings it out to the 39, a gain of 7 just like that. Tackled by Ricky Jackson. Well, Earl Campbell, of course, is not the first former Oiler who has joined Bum Phillips here in New Orleans.
Quite a group: Stabler, Campbell, Groth, Wilson, Merkins, and Stemrick.
So they have a, what do they call it, Houston East, Oilers East?
Well, a lot of people refer to it as Houston East, yes.
2nd down and 4 now with 6:15 to go. Dickerson is out of the game. No, he's in there at tailback. In motion is Ellard. Dickerson has gained 140, and now he's got more as he's near a 1st down. Penalty flag is down. I don't think Eric Dickerson's ready to rest yet, despite the fact that it's 28-10.
Looks like there might have been a holding penalty on the offense.
It is. Holding against L.A. We'll bring him back. Now, a lot of attention this week, and we'll hear the penalty by Chuck Heberling. A lot of attention on the trade right before the trading deadline.
Number 72.
That was Kent Hill holding on the plate. Now, what about trading in the middle of the year? What's the worth of that?
Well, I think really what happens is that, you know, we're all very much the same. Talking about coaches, you know, you're trying desperately to do everything you possibly can to win, especially if your team isn't playing as well as you hope they would. We did that several years ago. We traded for Ernie Ladd and also Jackie Lee, and gave the Houston Oilers Bobby Beathard, Petey Beathard, I should say. And both players helped us some, but it wasn't a dramatic trade. We did that again later with George Seals, who we thought was a great defensive player, a defensive tackle. He wound up going with the Chicago Board of Trade the following year. So you never know how those things are going to work out.
He didn't help you when he went with the Board of Trade, that's for sure.
Well, they gave us some tips.
Kemp being chased by Whitney Paul goes out of bounds way back at the 25-yard line. So a loss on the play of close to 10 yards. Jeff Kemp, though, is having a terrific afternoon. He has thrown 3 touchdown passes. So on the year, he has thrown 7 touchdown passes and has only thrown 1 interception.
His dad's got to be very proud of him. Jackie Kemp is here today, but he's got to be very proud of Jeff. And I think the Rams should be very, very happy. I think they have found a young quarterback for the future, and I think no question about the fact that Jeff Kemp has emerged as an outstanding young quarterback in this game today.
And I don't think that the Rams were convinced that they had that backup before his play in the last few weeks.
And I think there's always some question about a player like that, especially when he hasn't played much. So you have to wonder what he's going to be like.
3rd down and 17. Eric Dickerson. Penalty marker is down again. We have had 16 penalties, and this is number 17 as Dickerson is tackled at the 26-yard line by Johnny Poe with 5:46 on the clock. Another holding penalty against Los Angeles. The Bears and the Cardinals battling it out, and in the 4th quarter, the Cardinals lead 31-21. Neil Lomax ran for a touchdown, and next week the Redskins, who have to worry about Dallas later today, will go into the lair of the Cardinals in a big game.
And we'll be doing that game next week, Dick, and we'll look forward to that one. It should be a hot one.
The Cardinals could finally be for real. You never know what they're going to do from week to week, season to season.
Well, we saw in the first game of the season against Green Bay, they looked effective, but they blew the game by 1 point with a missed extra point and a field goal late in the game, but they were very impressive. Looked like they'd be a good football team this year.
Misko punting on 4th down, and Groth calls for the fair catch at the 41. The holding penalty, by the way, was on Ellard. Penalty marker is down. 32-yard punt by Misko, but no return. That's the story. Boy, the Rams are holding, it looks like, every play. Hank?
Well, they probably are. They're just being caught.
Holding number 90 on the kicking team. It is declined. 1st down.
Penalty is on Ed Brady, declined, and the Saints will have the ball on their own 42-yard line when we come back to the Superdome. Kenny Stabler has quarterback this second half. Kenny going to the sideline, and it's complete to Duckett. Duckett has a first down into Ram territory at the 47. Irvin makes the tackle. And for an NFL Today report, here's Brent Musburger in New York.
Dick, if Tampa Bay kicks this field goal, they will beat the Detroit Lions. But Ariri pulls it, and the Buccaneers and the Lions now go to overtime. They are deadlocked at 7. John McKay's kicking game is still betraying him. Back to Dick.
Screen pass. Stabler to Wayne Wilson as we come back. On first down. And the Saints lining up quickly with the ball at the 45-yard line of the Rams.
Boy, Stabler's been in this situation so many times in his career. It's amazing.
They need 3 scores. Pass caught by John Tice at the 39. He may have another first down. Jim Collins on the tackle. Are the Rams in a prevent defense at this point?
They're just playing the regular. They're playing the regular defense with a 3-man front and blitzing a linebacker on occasions, dropping back 7. But they're just making sure that everybody stays in front of them. So if they can make the catch, they'll make the tackle, and they'll have to take the bus rather than take a jet and get anything quickly.
Second down and 7. Stabler dropped by Junior Miller. He was open at the 30-yard line. So it'll be second and 10 with 4:26 on the clock. But the story here, and this week, the acquisition of Earl Campbell, who saw minimal action, and that's not surprising because Bum Phillips said that he's not going to play him all that much early. But there's I guess a deeper story here, Hank Stram, and that concerns the fact that Richard Todd has spent the second half on the sidelines, 8 for 13, 2 interceptions, and George Rogers has carried only 5 times for 11 yards in this game.
Well, I think prior to the game he had one unhappy player, and that was Stabler. Now you got another one with George Rogers. No question about that. And now you also have another one in Richard Todd. So then your squad, you know, they kind of scratch their head a little bit and say, well, what's going on? I thought we were going to do everything we possibly could to win. This really hasn't helped us much, and so they take sides, and it could really be a nasty problem.
That was another drop, and he tried a drop kick, did Tice, after that play. And, you know, Bum Phillips told us plain out, he says, this is a critical year for us.
Yes, and I couldn't quite understand that either, because I know that he has a great relationship with the owner and has an extended contract for 5 years, I think it is. So
incomplete, intended for Miller.
So it's hard, you know, it's hard to understand why the game would be critical, except for the fact that it's the game that you're playing this week and a game that you have to try to win desperately because you're 3-3.
Eric Dickerson with a game high this year of 141 yards, and he outrushed the team of George Rogers and Earl Campbell and Wayne Wilson and Hokie Gaijon and the rest. There's Earl Campbell, and you can expect, I guess, from the looks of things, that he's going to be playing more, wouldn't you think, as the weeks go on?
I would think so, yes. I definitely think that's the plan. 4th
down and 10. The Saints have to go for it. They're desperate, and it is incomplete. Groth was the intended receiver, and now the Rams will take over. Leroy Irvin and Carl Eckern defending on the play. And what's up, Doc? Checking the scores. The Giants hold on to their lead in the 4th quarter over the Falcons. Good news for the Rams. The Jets overtake Cleveland. Tony Page, a 2-yard run for the Jets. Miami going to go 7-0, Henry.
Yeah, and Houston at least put up a pretty good game this afternoon, the way it looks, according to the score.
They'll be 0-7. And in the 4th quarter, the Cardinals trying to go 4-3, and they would move into a second-place tie if they win with the loser of the Dallas-Washington game. Of course, they play the Redskins. The Cardinals do next week on CBS. 1st and 10 for the Rams with 4:11 to go.
If the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win today, they'll wind up being 4-3 and tied with the Bears.
That's true. They had a chance, as we saw. Ariri missed the kick, and now they go into overtime. Penalty against the Saints, apparently. Offsides. Bruce Clark might have jumped.
Encroachment, number 75 defense. First down.
Let's check some other scores while we have a moment. New England over Cincinnati, 17-14. Patriots could go 5-2 with a win there. That overtime game we talked about.
Yep, still the same, 7-7. Tampa Bay and Detroit in overtime.
So it's 1st and 5 following the penalty on Clark. Rams at the 42-yard line, leading 28-10. Got to be satisfied with the way they played. Dickerson going around right end. And Dickerson has the first down into Saints territory. Ricky Jackson makes the tackle. So Eric with 141 yards before that play, looking for more. Last year the Saints were 8-8. As you look at Philadelphia leading Indianapolis, and the Giants defeat Atlanta, so the Giants are now 4-3, and Atlanta losing now 3-4.
Did you see the overfield tackle they made on that pedestrian on the field that time? The best one I've seen all afternoon.
I was going to say, you know, they could have used that policeman when Dickerson was going around right end. First down and 10 with less than 3.5 minutes to go. Many of the fans are on their way home. Crutchfield fights his way, a gain of nearly 5 yards to the 42-yard line. But and getting back to the Saints, they were 8-8 last year and just missed making the playoffs when Lansford, right on this field, beat them with a field goal in the closing seconds. And I think this year, and that's why Bum said it was a critical year, because you have to make progress, and the Saints may not be making the progress.
I think the reason, probably really when you look back on it, his comment about being a critical year, I think Bum going into the season said that we would have a winning season, and there's no reason why they shouldn't make the playoffs. And I think when you say that, why that's critical if you don't meet the challenge. See? And I think maybe that's what he was referring to.
Second down, 5. Here's Dickerson cutting into the 40-yard line, third down as the clock runs. The Saints have been guilty of 9 penalties, 5 drop passes, and 3 passes intercepted, besides the poor tackling we talked about. But John Robinson's Rams came here after a tough loss to Atlanta, Hank. It's a divisional game. It's a road game. They've won their last 4 coming into this game on the road against division opponents, and this is a big game for them.
It really is. And of course, to win here, this is always a tough place to play. And John was a little uptight yesterday, I thought, when we visited with him, and justifiably so. But he's full of happiness now, and shows it on the sideline, talking to Jimmy Ray on the sideline, who calls the offensive plays for the Rams.
I want to remind you, next Sunday on the NFL Today, Hank, Irv Cross will have a report on the Cardinals' game-breaking duo of Neil Lomax to Roy Green, a combination that's become one of the most feared in the National Football League. 2:22 showing on the clock. The Saints called one of their 3 remaining timeouts.
Larry Matson just poked his head through the door there and said, be sure and say hello to my dad in California, so we say hi.
Kemp over talking with Jimmy Ray. Steve Dills with him. Kemp, this has got to be a terrific boost to this young man's confidence. Not that he hasn't played well to date, but the Rams were 1-2 coming into this game with Kemp in place of the injured Ferragamo. They'll even their mark at 2-2, and Kemp continues to avoid the big mistake. 3 touchdown passes today, worked it around to Drew Hill, Henry Ellard, and Ron Brown, and still has thrown only 1 interception on the year. 3rd down and 3. Dickerson, first down inside the 35-yard line, keeps it going. Final score, the Miami Dolphins are undefeated at 7-0, beat Houston, and they haven't won. They're 0-7. We're going to have our 2-minute warning coming up right now. Dickerson has rushed for 161 yards in 20 carries. That's the Eric Dickerson that NFL defenses saw last year. 2-minute warning. The Rams in control over the Saints 28-10. For Eric Dickerson, this is the 3rd best rushing game of his brief NFL career. 161 yards. Now, before the season, the Rams toyed with a shotgun trying to take advantage of Dickerson as a receiver, and they've ditched that.
Well, you have to give them a lot of credit. They experimented with that a little bit, and they found out that it wasn't the thing to do, and they dumped it.
1st and 10. Barry Redden carries with under 2 minutes to go. The Detroit Lions have won in overtime. Second win of the year, 13-7 the final score over Tampa Bay. So the Bucs are 3-4. Detroit 2-5, and so Chicago, if they lose to St. Louis, will still hold a 1-game lead in the NFC Central. Well, John Robinson said this may be the day that we'll want Jeff Kemp to do more than just stay within himself, get the touchdowns, and he did to the tune of 3 scores. 2nd down and 8. Gooman lines up in the backfield, and Dickerson still going inside the 30-yard line. Gary Danielson threw a 37-yard touchdown pass to Leonard Thompson to give the Lions the win over Tampa Bay.
Well, that's a tough way to lose a game when you have a chance to win it with a field goal in a waning seconds of the game, and then have to come back in an overtime and lose it. That's tough.
Tough for Bum too today. 28-10 on the short end. He's going to have to deal with some things. There's no question about it. Richard Todd's psyche, George Rogers. We went with Stabler all the way in the second half. 3rd down and 5. Barry Redden shy of a 1st down, but the clock is going to run out, and the Rams are going to have their 4th victory. So if you're looking at the big group of clubs at 3-3 in the NFC, the Giants win, they're 4-3. The Rams win, they're 4-3. But Tampa Bay and Atlanta loses. To bring you up to date on that, that'll be the end of the ball game. The final seconds tick off. Eric Dickerson winds up with 164 yards, and the final score, the Los Angeles Rams 28, the New Orleans Saints 10. Keep in mind, Dallas and Washington for 1st place in the NFC East. That great rivalry resuming coming up next. For Hank Stram, Dick Stockton saying goodbye. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League continues after this word from your local station.